Scholars, welcome back to the counselor's office. Again, I don't know if the audio, if you've been on this journey, I don't know what's going on with the audio. I'm kind of waiting because I'm going to take all my stuff apart to do some deep cleaning in the office area. But I'm doing some recording because I'm bad gaming counselor. I'm being lazy. I didn't do anything this weekend. I'm sorry. I did bad. But I told you guys that I would be doing more Warframe content and reacts. And I'm a man of my word. Don't worry, we will be reacting to some Destiny stuff that I missed in the past, and there'll be other Destiny stuff to talk about. There's always something to talk about in the Destiny world. But Warframe, many people are giving Warframe the love or the attention or just a shot, which is weird because I had a lot of people in the comment section saying, yo, hey, Warframe's always been good. Why? It's just people suddenly want to acknowledge it. And you're right. I've always thought it was good, but it's always been this like sin, especially if you play Destiny, a sin to talk about Warframe. Like, be gone, Satan, be gone. It's so weird. But there's one man who's crossed the borders of many game genres. And I've had some negative critiques and interactions with him in the past. The one zombie slayer, Mr. Rothwaffles. Now, I'm going to say it right now. Even though he was very toxic positivities for Bungie and Destiny, the things that I've watched when he talks about zombies is 360, and I've always thought some of his especially his most recent takes on zombies has been based. Like, it's a completely different personality. I like from watching Destiny to then watch him talk about his fourth or whatever the hell it's called, like his thing, zombies, and it's just like it's like, who is this dude? Anyways. Oh, I didn't put the music on repeat. Whoops, there it is. He's talking about Warframe. That's right. He gave it a try. And I know there's going to be people that want to sit there and be negative Nellies. Listen, even if I have a negative interaction or negative thoughts about someone, I'll never be a gatekeeper when it comes to something that's good or enjoyable, unless they're trying to corrupt that. And I don't think he's trying to corrupt that. In fact, the more eyes on Warframe is good. And I maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he sits there and criticizes Warframe. I don't know, but we're going to find out. We're going to see what his take is on all of it and what he thinks about Warframe, because Warframe is kind of a different bird from Destiny and Call of Duty Zombies. It's all third person, which is not normal for either genre of Destiny and Call of Duty, unless you play in third person with Call of Duty, since they introduced that. But like I said, I'm not a gatekeeper, and I don't think, based on my interactions and conversations with people from the Warframe community, they're not gatekeepers either. They're very open, very willing to have people give it a shot. The ones that are gatekeepers or the douchebags, they're kind of like the unwanted stepchild of the Warframe community. So I'm not going to participate in that behavior. I'm going to be like, the more, the merrier. And if there's anything that deserves positive attention, it's Warframe, because it's not toxic positivity. They're actually positive, so it's fine. And it's also, if you're going to shill for a company, Digital Extremes is a fantastic company. I know this is a long ass introduction, but I know there's people who from my channel that have seen my interactions, especially when I called him out personally, and many people agreed with me calling him out for his toxic positivity. But I don't want to throw shade for him playing Warframe. Good. I hope he enjoys it. I hope we get some feedback and thoughts on what he thinks. The more, the merrier, because that's how I feel about when it comes to Warframe. I don't know. I don't speak for the wider range of the Warframe audience community. Like I'm a veteran. I'm not. But based on my interactions and how the vibe is with the community, I'm not going to participate in being a negative Nelly. when more people in the game is good people, or we hope they're good, is good, right? So we're gonna watch this, we're gonna check it out, and we're gonna see, was it up to snuff for Mr. Waffles?
Warframe for the first time, and I was really impressed, and that's despite the fact that I had quite high expectations going in just because of its reputation, but it actually surpassed those expectations in multiple areas. So today I want to go over just what my first experience with the game was actually like, and tell you about the...
By the way, you can tell he's actually integrating in the game when he's actually doing the bullet jump. He's actually doing... He's not like running around like, you know, like those we used to call them EA trailers, right? Where they're like on the, it's very obvious that someone's playing who doesn't know what they're doing. Like, I'm getting like he's actually getting into the game and learning how to actually move. Plus Mag, good choices for multiple reasons.
Things that I thought were really cool, and give some feedback along the way as well. For context also, my first time playing it was on stream, so I streamed it for about 8 hours in one block. So I had chat kind of helping me out as I went along, which definitely helped my experience even more, especially because the Warframe community is just...
Okay, you can tell that he's definitely fresh, but at least he's trying. He's doing the movement.
So nice. So we'll use clips from that stream throughout this video. That's what you'll be watching. And also, if you haven't played the game yet and you like the sound of what I say in this video and you want to play it for yourself, give it a try. It is free. You can sign up via the link that I've...
100% free. When he says free, he means it's all free. You don't have to swipe your card.
Got in the description. Thank you, Digital Extremes. And if you sign up via that link, you'll get like some free goodies in game. You'll get a katana skin, and some other bits and pieces, but it's only available for a limited time. So what I recommend you do...
I have not put this code in. Whoops. It's probably too late, right?
Is you click that link now and you start signing up like in another tab while you watch this video, and then you get the best of both worlds. So without further ado, let's talk Warframe. So it makes sense to start at the beginning with the tutorial, and this was a really neat experience. And I was very skeptical. I'm going to be completely honest. I was skeptical of what they'd be able to achieve with a tutorial for a game this broad and this deep as well, because other games that I've played that have systems like Warframe have really struggled in the tutorial department to keep it streamlined.
Destiny has, not Destiny 1, Destiny 2 has the worst new player just introduction ever. And that is one of the things that is a glaring issue. And unfortunately, Bungie does not. It's funny because Warframe, and yes, I played, like, just to date myself, I started playing with Scarlet Spear, right? And this is before when they started, I think this is when they start trying to change the new player experience a little bit, but it's evolved. This whole game has evolved and improved itself. The new player experience was also a pain point for Warframe. Let's just not say, oh, it's just Destiny only. But the difference is we're like, the new player experience started off, you know, involving and getting better. Whereas with Destiny 2, the new player experience was just ripped and shoved out of the game because they removed paid content, which is not what necessarily Warframe does. I know people have mentioned, oh, they remove raids, which from what I've looked up were buggy and a hot mess and caused a lot of toxicity, which is not what Digital Extremes wanted for the community. So I think removing that was a good choice. Also, they've kind of stopped catering to the PvP side, which again is a good thing because that's kind of not what you play Warframe for anyway. So it makes sense they focus resources and time. I know. So, and this is one of those things that I have actually seen evolve, even though I've not been here from the beginning. This new mission was something relatively new in the life of Warframe, where it really fleshed out the new player experience. And it was really cool to see that as someone who's already been through the new player experience and go back and play it and like, oh, this is a lot better. So it's really cool to see that even though, yes, the history of Warframe, it hasn't been perfect, but they have constantly evolved it and tried to improve to make things better for the player experience.
And to onboard new players in a way that feels like it's not overwhelming them, but it's also giving them exactly what they need to know. And I think Warframe did a really good job of that, because it starts off with this cutscene, which is a really awesome cutscene, but you can kind of tell in the cutscene that you're about to be able to play as one of the characters in the cutscene. Like, you see all of these frames doing all this cool stuff, and then it's like, okay, which one do you want to be? And so you've already kind of got a feel for, oh, this character or this frame is going to behave in a certain way and is going to have certain abilities. And then you get to the picking a character screen or a frame screen, and you're like, I kind of already have their vibe. Like, before I even have to read a load of text,
It's also really good because they break down, like Warframe does a great job of breaking down what the character does. And not even just on the screen, but in general, like they give you tips, how to play, how to improve. Like, there is so much information, even though for this very beginning, unironically, if you compare this, and I'm going to bully Destiny because Destiny, like, Bungie needs to get a grip. That a game that's been around since 2013 has been eating its lunch. Destiny doesn't even do this for its 3 starter, its classes, Warlock, Hunter, and Titan. Like, it doesn't even do this, but Warframe just breaks it down and makes explaining the thing easy and digestible. And this, when you think about how, like, there's I think over 30 Warframes, even more, like, it's crazy. But they give you just a really good kit. And all 3 of these, Vault is fantastic, Excalibur's fun, Mag is, I think, still really good. But I know Vault's been popping off over the years. Like, someone sound off. What would you recommend as a starter frame if you were going to introduce it to, like, Excalibur's like the ninja fantasy, right? Outside of Ash is like the real ninja, but Excalibur is the poster child. Very fun, enjoyable. But Vault is very strong, and you can use Vault in a lot of end game activities, even if you don't do Vault Prime. Yeah, sound off. Let me know let everyone know in the comments what would be the best starter.
It's shown me instead of telling me, you know what I mean? Which is just so good. So you get a choice between 3 frames, Excalibur, Mag, and Vault. I chose Mag, and I figured that would be kind of a less popular choice, potentially. It seemed like Excalibur and Vault might be the go-tos for a lot of people, but I chose Mag because I wanted to sort of mix it up a little bit, and I was really happy with my choice. And the game then immediately starts walking you through the basics, but in a way that didn't completely fry my brain, which was really good.
He sees the animal. He's like, oh, what is that?
Good. So I got some movement basics explained. I had a little bit of time to play with some of the abilities and stuff. Now, this is one area that I think the game could maybe do slightly better. My impression of the abilities part of the tutorial was that I think I unlocked one of the abilities maybe, and then actually also unlocked all the other abilities, but I didn't realize it because my energy was too low. And so I tried using an ability at one point and I couldn't use it. And I didn't realize, because I was new to the game, I just didn't realize that I was out of energy and I needed to refresh it before I could use the ability.
I think that's fair because that's something that Destiny does do right. At least recent Destiny, where they introduce like Prismatic or Lightfall with Strand. When you get or I think even Beyond Light with Stasis, where they introduce the new super, they give you like high energy, like ability energy uptime and super ability energy. Like you get a lot, so you could just keep spamming it very quickly. And so Digital Extremes could implement the same thing with these early missions. Like, hey, we're just gonna have very fast, like you get max energy for the duration of this to learn how to do the thing, right? To me, that seems like an easy fix.
But I mistakenly then assumed I just hadn't unlocked it, so I didn't use my other abilities for like a little while because I just thought I was waiting to unlock them. So I almost wonder if in that first mission, it would be good to have just like one little knowledge check where it's like, okay, use all of your abilities in succession here to progress. Like that might be a good way to just sort of ensure that the player has onboarded that lesson. But I will say it didn't actually matter that I didn't know that I had all of my abilities because the movement in the game is so fun. I was just busy having fun with that. And I honestly think that's why I didn't notice that the game was telling me that I'd unlocked
movement Warframe is chef kiss.
All the abilities, because it does tell you that. I was just too carried away with the fact that the movement is insane. Like, it's actually crazy. You start off and you're just sprinting and it's all chill and it's all fine. And then you're like, oh.
What's funny is that Milo doesn't know, and it took me a while for me to realize this, is that bullet jumps is actually a feature from a bug. And there's so many, probably maybe that's a video I'll do, all the bugs that were turned into features for Warframe. But that one is one of those little info nuggets you don't know, and the fact that it's now part of the new player experience, even though that it was just a bug that was turned into something. Like the bullet jump stuff is cool.
I can sprint, and then I can bullet jump, where you're sprinting and then you bullet forwards. And then you learn, I can bullet jump, and then I can do that in different directions. So you practice bullet jumping upwards. You practice bullet jumping diagonally. You start getting a feel for, okay, this completely changes the movement sandbox. Then you realize, okay, I can sprint into a slide, into a bullet jump, and then I can hit double tap on my control key to go into a roll, and I can roll out of the bullet jump, and then I can slide again, and I can chain that together. And it means that you're in fast mode 24/7, and it's glorious. It's so nice. And
listen, people talk about how I smile when I play Warframe. This is a genuine smile. This is something where you found a new toy. Like, this is a kid on Christmas. You found a new toy. You're like, thanks, mom and dad.
So nice. And the tutorial does give you opportunities to learn all of this stuff. It doesn't specifically say, okay, now you have to combo it all together or you lose. But it presents it to you in a way that wasn't overwhelming for me, while also giving me the knowledge to say, yes, these are features in this game that you can use. There were also one or two moments where the game initially said something to me that I was a bit sort of surprised by. Like, for instance, the melee with my sword, that was on E by default as the keybind. I was like, that's an unusual keybind to have for my sword. Like, don't I just want to like press my like 1 or 2 or 3 key to switch weapon to my melee weapon and then start left clicking to...
I put all my melee on my mouse. It's just really weird for like controller. I played controller recently. And it feels very intuitive and a lot easier than I thought. But like, it's weird playing anything else than the keybinds on my mouse.
Swing my sword. But I then realized, part of the reason for this is that sword swing is also something that I might use if I'm in the air, for instance, to dive down and slam onto a group of enemies with a big sort of sword slash. And so once I started to learn more about the game, I was like, you know what? That actually makes total sense. And I just need to kind of get used to how Warframe works here, which was really cool, actually, because I went from being like, wait, what? To being like, brain expansion. I see the vision now, which I really enjoyed. And I think that it helps set Warframe apart from other games where it's like, okay, I can see the Warframe DNA kind of showing itself here. Now, as the tutorial...
Hey, he did a mastery challenge, or at least I'm assuming this is one of the mastery challenges. Neat.
Went on, I started to not really even feel like it was sort of heavily tutorial, which was quite nice. I started going through a couple of different missions, and I was like, okay, this just feels like early campaign. Cool, that works for me. That's actually great, as opposed to feeling like I'm being really over-guided. But then it got to the mission, The Teacher, where I'm learning.
This is also new. And I think that I have not played this mission. I'm going to get full context. I've yet to play this mission. By the way, I like that he's actually bought platinum. Respects for the platinum 1,000. You can't see it because of my webcam. I've not played this. And what's interesting enough is that he's coming in after they've made the changes. Mods have been one of the critical points outside of the new player experience, critical points of things that have just not been good when Warframe. Like the explanation have just been so awful that you almost always had to go to YouTube to know what the hell do I do. In fact, I'm trying to remember. I think I went through almost the whole Soul system before figuring out what mods were or how they worked. I would just like plug and drop stuff in and said, okay, that's all. More damage. This does damage. Cool. I will rock as much shield as possible. That's good, right? Armor and shield. I'm playing, so it'll be interesting for me to try the teacher and see, but this is again, one of those evolutional things about Warframe that they have taken feedback and have actually applied it early on. in the game itself versus like this has taken several years for them to, you know, actually shape the game, which is fine. You know, I'm sure it's been years that they've had this feedback, but they've finally done it. You know, shame it took that long, but it's done, right?
Learning about the mods system especially, and this was so good because I suspect the mod system is the thing that most new players would bounce off if there wasn't a good system in place to explain how it worked, because mods in games like this are just complex. They are complex systems. There's a lot of intricacy to them.
Yes, they are.
I was impressed with the teacher mission because it allowed me to dabble with the mod system a little bit, not in a way that was super overwhelming, but just in a way that made me sort of go, oh, okay, I can do this. Let me just try that just in the smallest possible way, test it out a little bit, use it a little bit against some enemies, and then let me go back to that mods bench and do a little bit more and dabble with it a little bit further. Now, there were one or two things that were the teeniest bit confusing to me, but I would expect that in a scenario like this. Like I'd always think that a system like that would take some getting used to. One thing that happened was I was interacting with the sort of mods bench, and then I backed out of it midway through the tutorial flow. And then when I went back into the mods bench, it was kind of confused about where I was in the flow. And so it kept a prompt on screen for me to do something, even though I'd already done it. So it sort of stopped guiding me at that point. And I just had to sort of click through with chat and figure out what it wanted me to do. And so like, even the game is like, listen, these mod systems are complex, man. Like they take some work to make.
I'm glad he's making these points, because I don't even know like what criticism to make. Because obviously when you get into the mods, you know, it's one of those things that it's like the light bulb is always on. So from a new player perspective, you got to be mindful that they don't know. Select a mod upgrade via fusion. Oh, I play Warframe. I know exactly what to do. But you gotta like turn that off and be like, yeah, you've got to click the mod and hit, you know, the fusion option.
The work, right? But still, for a tutorial to an incredibly complex and deep game, I thought that it did a really brilliant job. And I mean, I played the 8 hours and I was like, I want to play more. Like, I definitely want to play more right now. And had the tutorial sucked, I'd probably have been sitting there being like, this is just rough. Like, I don't know how the game works and it's not telling me and I hate this, right? I didn't get that feeling whatsoever. Now, another thing that I was pretty impressed by was the performance. So obviously this is a game that initially launched like over a decade ago now. It's been a long time. And I wasn't sure if that would mean that it wouldn't look very nice visually and graphically.
Also, when it comes to upgrades and just download size, this game is big, but not the file size. They've done what other games they've optimized, which is crazy.
I also wasn't sure what the performance would be like if I really cranked the settings up, like if they'd done updates recently to mean that those settings would still be really intense.
By the way, I know I'm clicking a lot. I can't talk over because the sound jacks up, but I just want to point out, I love that he was looking at the screen, seeing the text, and I immediately know that when he sees like hidden text on stuff, he wants to decipher it. So, because he's the zombie guy, he's always deciphering shit and like the Easter egg stuff. If there's anyone to like, if it hasn't been figured out already, if there's someone to try to crack the code of what it's on that board, it would be Milo.
On my PC, but I'm happy to report that performance was really solid for me. I whacked on DLSS. And it looked really nice. I think sometimes DLSS in games can look a little ugly, but it didn't look ugly here. I thought it looked absolutely fine. All my edges were sharp. It looked great. And I was at smooth 120 FPS on max settings the entire time. And I'm running a 3090. So again, I'd expect my system to be able to handle it, but if it wasn't optimized well, then it would definitely have been dropping frames.
I wonder if he knows that you can play on Nintendo Switch. If it can play on the Nintendo Switch or even the phone, I think the game is very optimized. Like, let's be honest. Like, very few games could be like, yeah, we can play Destiny on mobile too. It's called Destiny Rising.
In places, as I experience with other games. And I'm single PC setup as well. So I had the demand of both my YouTube and my Twitch stream and the game, and it still handled it like a champ the entire time. So that was really great to see. And graphically and visually, I think it looks really nice. I think that there are some areas that I walked into where I was like, okay, this is pretty nice right now. The music as well, actually, just while I'm on this topic, was really fantastic. I really thought the music was awesome. I played a little bit of Warframe music to kind of...
I want to know if he got to Fortuna. Oh, he's got to get the Fortuna. When they start seeing We All Lift. Oh.
Kind of kick off the stream and hype myself up a little bit, just based on chat recommendation. And it was amazing. Like, there was some absolute bangers in there. I can't wait to experience those in gameplay. So far, I've only had tutorial missions to go off, obviously. But seems like Digital Extremes really know how to cook music as well. That's my first impression. We'll see if that continues, but yeah, so far so good. Now that brings me on to the amount of content in the game, because like I said, it's a game that initially launched many years ago, and...
Wait, what? You can stand on those? I didn't know that. There's no way. I didn't even know that. I've always just shot those little assholes. You could ride on them? Bro, his mind is in a different... I see robot, I shoot. He says, robot, I gotta go for a ride.
This one's an interesting one, because I can't really speak to the true amount of content in there, because I'm new, right? I haven't seen beyond the tutorial. Like, I've only got up to finishing the...
That is fucking funny. I'm sorry. Milo's a fucking genius for this. It's great, dude. I love it.
Teacher quest. So, I don't know what the...
They see me rolling. They hated.
Full extent of the content is like, but I did at one point go to the, like, Earth map, which has a bunch of missions on it.
So
and then my chat was like, oh, by the way, scroll out. And I scrolled out and I was like, oh, damn. There's not just Earth, but there's this entire system of different planets with different mission sets on them, and I don't know if that's a campaign per planet or like, I have no idea how it works yet, but it seems like there is a ton there. Chat informed me that there is no content vaulting, sunsetting situation with this game, so there is all of the content basically in the game still, so it's all present, which is fantastic to see. And so the only thing that I'm sort of unsure of, I suppose, is what the mid-game and then end-game is going to be like. Like, I assume that the mid-game is going to be a lot of trying to grind through different missions to unlock different frames. But then end-game, I actually have no idea.
Fashion is the end game. Anyone that plays this game, fashion is the end game.
Right now, I just can't speak to it. I'm not sure if this game has any sort of raid-like activities or things along those lines. I'm a big fan of those sorts of puzzles, especially. Not sure at this stage, but I'm crossing.
So there's puzzles, like there are puzzles, like even the spy missions have their own little puzzles, so he might like that, but not the extent that he's looking for. Like, there are puzzles in Warframe and like certain like things to scope out. I don't know what they're called. It really bothers me. But there are puzzles that you can do, but they're not to the extent I don't think is going to satiate his zombie Easter egg, Destiny raid, you know, his vibe. I don't think it's going to be that good for him.
My fingers that there'll be something like that to scratch that kind of itch, but we'll have to find out. We'll have to stream it some more. And as often... I
think the puzzle for him is going to be, like, for him, I think what he will like the most, if he likes gameplay, is solving the damage formula. Sure, he could just Google and look it up and figure out what's the best in slot. But I think him coming up with actual builds with the mods and figuring out the most optimal way to fight things, I think that's where Warframe shines as a puzzle. Sure, if you just want to go in and jump in and start playing, then look up the builds. The same thing with Destiny, but more so Warframe because it's very mod dependent, more so than Destiny, where your mods is your build. It is the lifeblood of making. It can make mods can take a crappy gun and make it a decent gun or even a god tier gun. Like, it can make anything usable in the game essentially if you mod correctly. So, and there's plenty of guns and Warframes that I feel like if he wanted to challenge himself, he could have something to, you know, crack the code, quote unquote.
being the case in games like this, any sort of action RPG or what have you. One thing that I expect will also be part of the end game is fashion. It's just always the way these things go. And I had a pretty deep look at the store and the cosmetics and stuff like.
By the way, yes, you have to pay for colors. They do give you free colors, by the way. Like, if you want to make the joke, like, oh, they're just like Destiny, you have to pay for it. You actually get free base colors. But I have found that, like, for instance, I just farmed an arcane that was worth 70 plat. You could sell 70 plat or whatever, 75, and then just straight up buy your colors, and then you have it forever. And you don't even need, like, you could just buy the general colors, and that will fit 90% of your fit in Warframe. It's only when you want to be really, really specific. That is on your flavor of, desire. But it is nice that everything essentially you can earn by playing the game. Like, you don't have to swipe your card to get access to these colors. It feels overwhelming when you're like, oh, I've got to pay for a lot. Well, when you think that you could actually farm parts and sell it and trade it, I would say in Sound Off, I think getting 75 plat for color palettes, it's really not that hard. It's actually pretty easy. As a new player, that's a different story. But as you get more to know, it's not that hard.
That, and I was talking to chat about their impressions of that sort of side of the game as well. And it seems really positive to me. I think the store overall is something that the community really likes. It seems like they do quite a lot of like fundraisers where they'll do things like charity drives to combat cancer and stuff like that. And part of that ends up working its way into the game with the community sort of unlocking cosmetics by doing these charity drives. There's also community-made content in the store. So an artist could make something and then submit it, I guess, for approval. And then if it gets approved, anytime someone buys it, I think that the artist gets a cut of the proceeds from selling it.
This is huge. This is something that people want in Destiny for a long time. And I'm going to be honest, I don't know why. It's kind of crazy because if you think about it, any gaming company could take advantage of their art. Like, and I say this in a very not like, ooh, take advantage as if they're abusing or, they're taking advantage of the fact that they have dedicated fans, but can make content that people would buy, made by fans for the fans, right, of the franchise, and they could give a cut to the artists, which I would imagine is probably cheaper than actually hiring full-time artists, depending on what you want to do. Now, that's not me trying to say, oh, yeah, cut artist jobs is going to piss people off. What I'm saying is you could have your community give you, like, ideas and, instead of having artists waste time on, like, 30 guns, they could be building up the world with their art, and you can have the small stuff dedicated, your community help make, and then you pay your community the right way, Bungie, instead of taking their art up
in the game, in the store, which is amazing. Like, that's so cool. I think that's something I first saw happening with TF2 years and years and years ago, and to see that model being applied in Warframe is amazing, not only because of the fact that it means that they're supporting these artists who are contributing to the ecosystem, but it also means that there's a ton of content in the store. Like, you look at the dev-made chunk of stuff, and then you look at the extent of the community-made things, and there's a lot of extra stuff there that wouldn't be there if Digital Extremes were more stingy and had more of a walled garden, so to speak, but they don't, and they are very generous, it seems like, with that side of things. And then when you're actually buying those sorts of things as well, and when you're looking at even just like...
By the way, sick.
The color variations that you can select. You might have a given piece of your kit. You can select not just one set of colors, and that's it, like a fixed set.
He's gonna customize. You can see in his eyes that man said, "I want those flaming cheeks."
Within a really broad range of colors on the kind of shadery type color sets that you apply, and that's awesome. Like, the fact that they give you that much customization.
Goon frame. Only buy plat when you get the 75% discount voucher. Based.
Potential, even from the very beginning of the game. Really cool.
So it's like, decipher that. Yeah, come on, zombie boy, you like Easter eggs. Find the Easter eggs between those cheeks.
So again, it's early days, but seemed promising in that regard. Now, obviously, I couldn't do any of that stuff without talking to my chat about their thoughts on all of it too. And so I think it's worth just talking about the community for a second. The Warframe community seems so lovely. Like, I was warned, and that's in big bunny quotes, right? Big air quotes. Warned that the Warframe community might be one of the nicest communities in gaming. I was warned. And so far, so good. I was really pleasantly surprised. It's not that I was expecting there to be any problems, but I've tried games like this before. I've tried getting into new game communities before, and sometimes people get very angry if you don't play the game the way they play it, or if you're taking a long time to get used to something, or what have you, or there's just a general feeling of some challenge, I think, sometimes to integrate into a fresh game community, especially as a creator like myself, where I've got a big audience elsewhere.
One thing about this community is that, and I'm going to call it out, Destiny is filled with elitists. They care about digital numbers. They care about stupid emblems. You don't get that really in Warframe. And sound off if I'm wrong, right? You can, I don't speak for the whole Warframe community, but based on any interaction, I have never came across someone that says, you're using that Warframe? Wait, you're using that gun? When I started, I played Scarlet Spear, and I was completely, like, I felt like very underleveled, and I had no mods. Like, I was just farming weapons and frames, using that event to farm a bunch of XP, and I was not helpful at all. Like, I'm going to be fully transparent. I've said this multiple times. I was an a-hole back when I started, because I jumped, instead of playing like the core mission stuff, I jumped right into this event and leveled up like my rankings via this event, just farming this event constantly, buying a bunch of like for the credit guns, the blueprints. I would farm up, buy as I leveled up, buy any of the free stuff that I could buy from the store, level up the guns, use them, rank up, and that's all I did, right? I played very aggressively in a way that is probably not prototypical of anyone who starts the game. And I didn't help at all. But I never, even though I was being a douche canoe, at least I felt, I never had anyone in the chat yell at me, even though they rezzed me a lot. I got rezzed a lot. I never had anyone yell at me or treat me like crap. I never had anyone that was just hateful, even though if they were going to call me out, they had every right to do so. And I remember I was looking for, like, I wasn't part of a clan or anything, and I heard that the Ignis was one of the God, what is it? It's not the Ignis Wraith. It's the Flamethrower, and I wanted it because it was a Flamethrower. Warframe, Ignis Flamethrower. What the hell is it called? I haven't used it. Is it? No, it's just the Ignis. Okay, so I got it right. It's not the Ignis Wraith. It's just the Ignis. Yeah, it was one of the most popular primary Warframes that everyone used, especially starting out. And you could essentially upgrade this gun, at least when I started playing, and you could use it through the main story, all through the soul system, upgrade it right. The Ignis was just like one of the popular starter weapons, just go boop, and kill everything. It was great against the infested. It was just great, right? It was a good weapon, and I got it for free. Someone literally just traded it to me, saying, "Hey, here, dude, I got you." They didn't have to do that, but I was looking out for help. Like, hey, I'm new. I heard this gun is really good that can carry me through. Because I didn't know what I was doing. I was just leveling up random guns. I don't know what was meta. Someone was using a flamethrower. It's like, hey, what's that? It looks pretty cool. They told me to say, hey, it's pretty good to start off with. The story evolved from there, right? So the point being is this community doesn't have an issue with elitism, at least not that I've ever ran into. And I think that says a lot. It's about fun, and it's about having a good time. at least from my experience. I'm just one person.
Swear, and then I'm completely entering this new turf with Warframe. But I mean, the community were so welcoming during that stream. They were so lovely. There was so much support, and on other platforms as well. On Twitter, like the fact that Reb Ford is replying to my tweet. Like, what's happening? Like, that's so cool.
It is. It's really cool to see her popping off. And she does. She's talked to Astrocross. She's talked to a lot of people because she knows how to actually diversify and get herself out there and get the game out there. And just representing your company in a positive way. She does a phenomenal job, especially as her own social influencer for the game. Like, she knows how to put herself out there. She knows how to interact and to connect with content creators and people to give a spotlight to the game. Like, she's in for the game. She loves the game. She loves the community. And it's something that really it's very authentic. The word is authentic, which is something that you don't see from most or any other games.
Cool. So, like, not only is there a lot of clear love and support from the dev side of things, but then also just the folks in the chat helping me out, giving me advice, being patient with me. It was so lovely and enabled me to play the game in the way that felt natural to me in the moment, which was really important. And that actually led to one of the coolest things in that first stream that could have possibly happened. I noticed something on the wall, right? And I'm like a big puzzles guy. I'm a big secrets guy. I'm a big Easter eggs guy. I love that stuff, right? And if you've watched my content for a long time, you'll know that. I saw something on the wall and I instantly was like, that looks like a cipher to me. That looks like a real language that I could translate if I spent a couple of minutes on it. And chat was like, what's happening here? And I was like, chat, do I indulge in not playing the game for a little bit, but instead doing something that is game adjacent?
By the way, I don't even know anything about the language. I'm not, like, I know the lore based on just playing the game. I've never really watched any lore videos for Warframe, nor have I looked up like secrets like this. So.
And trying to crack what I believe is a cipher. It kind of looked like almost a Pigpen cipher to me. So I was like, I think I can do this. I think I have the skills to crack this thing. And chat was like, you do what your heart desires. That happened even when I was picking my frame at the beginning. And it nearly made me cry, bro. I was actually like so overwhelmed where I was like, chat, do I pick Excalibur or Volt or Mag? Like, what do I do? And the entire chat was just like, do what your heart says you should do.
That's the thing about Warframe. You can play with a group and it's fun, but you can play this entire game solo as well. This game does not limit you on how you want to play, and the community doesn't limit you on how you want to play. Play what you want. Yes, there's meta weapons, but you can, like I said, this is a game, like, if you're talking about like Still Path and doing like 99s and stuff like that, sure, that's a whole different part of the community, right? And even then, that community is like, you want to use specific meta weapons to achieve that. But most of the frames and guns in this game can do almost anything in the game. That's the nice thing. If you know how to mod, you know what to do, you know your elements, you know the weaknesses, you can pretty much use anything in this game. You could use probably what's considered garbage, and you can find like a max ranked Riven and get a god roll, and it can pop off, and you can use what you want. Where your heart desires, you can use whatever you think is fun. And I think that's magical about Warframe. It has something that other games don't, because like Destiny is a big one because that's the one I grew up with, right? Destiny has always had the issue that weapons fade into oblivion, and very rarely do they come back in the same way and or ever come back, right? Whereas Warframe is like, hey, we might give it an Incarnate, or we might give it a new specific mod that does a unique thing, but ultimately the gun is still the gun. We're not changing the stats. In fact, I don't know if they ever generally change the stats of guns. Maybe they do for the Prime 100% when they do a Prime version, but I don't know if they go back and retouch someone who's been here the longest, let me know in the comments down below. But they generally don't mess with stats outside of doing a prime variant of it, or a vandal variant, or Ignis, a wraith version. Like, there's different versions of a gun, but overall the gun is as it is. They don't just start tweaking stuff. So it is cool to see that you can essentially play if you want. I know there's people like, oh, well, I came back and my gun's now useless. Yeah, I found that too, but that's because they changed stats and they've added new mods, and the game does evolve, but you can still use what you want. You just have to maybe make some changes.
Like, oh my God, that's beautiful. Like, normally it's just like, you have to pick this, you have to pick this, the beginner one has to be this, otherwise you have a terrible time. Pick this, pick this. Yeah. No, they were just like, your heart is calling out to you, Milo. Answer the call. I was like, ah! So they did the same thing when I saw this thing on the wall, and I then spent 2 hours cracking it, and we deciphered the entire...
Got sidetracked, decided to decode an alien language in my first playthrough stream. Game is absolute cinema. If our enemies deserved, please, they could have death.
Higher Grineer language on stream in my first ever Warframe stream. And it was absolute pure cinema.
Operation?
It was so much fun. And it just goes to show that this game has secrets and attention to detail and love from the devs that could easily be something they didn't bother with. Because is that going to sell more copies of the game? No. Do you ever see an advert on the side of a bus?
I mean, you don't sell copies because it's free.
An advert on a billboard, an advert on a commercial on TV, and they're like, play Warframe, because you can spend 2 hours and 45 minutes in one of the...
Worth every second.
Tutorial missions.
What the hell is happening?
Coding an alien language with no upside to yourself other than furthering your knowledge of the Grineers and learning that they can't spell and they're a bit dumb. Do you ever see ads like that?
I cannot wait until he gets to the scene where he plays Call of Duty. Or what is that his name? Is it Call? Yeah, Call of Duty. I think it's Call or Gall. It's been a while since I played the new war. But I can't wait until he gets to play as a Grineer.
No, you don't, right? And yet it is still there. And that to me is one of the best signs a game can ever have. If I can start the game and I can see the love from the devs and I can see that speaking to me, I'm in. I'm actually sold. I'm a customer for life. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a player for life. I'm there. Put me in that next update. I'm hitting it with all my might. You know what I mean? Like, we're streaming the whole thing. Like, it's just so important to me. And I've played a lot of games over the years where they become a lot more of a corporate exercise in making money and hitting targets in a fiscal
Destiny, Bungie,
year and whatever. And
for him, Activision.
I just had the opposite impression with Warframe, that what their goal is fun and honoring the love the community has for the game and doing right by them. That's what it seems to come down to. Now, it's early, right? And like, this is a sponsored video, so who knows? Who knows in the future? But for a first impression, it was cinema. It was a really fun...
I didn't even know this was a sponsored video. Did he even say that at the beginning that it was a sponsored video? I thought it was just him being excited to talk about it.
Fantastic time. And the thing I'd like to hear from you guys is, would you like me to dive into this further in the future and do some playthroughs of some of the campaigns? Or like, what even should I do next? I feel like
That's how I felt. Like, I just play the game. Like, what would people even want from me? Like, I'm not a lore guy. I'm not a build guy. Do you just want me, like, that's why I decided to do reacts like this. We're reacting. We're going to talk about it because I think I do have some knowledge. Now, I'm not a veteran, and I'm going to continue to say that because I'm not the chief person. Like, there's other content creators that have been around for years. They're founders, and they will always hold that over, me. And I'm never going to sit there and say, I know better than everyone else, because I don't. But I do have, I have a crap ton of time, and I literally degen this game. I'm still catching back up after taking a year year or so off and not being as serious as I would have. Perks of breaking the shackles of destiny. I'm digging back in, and I'm going to get to legend. It's gonna happen. I'm at 28. I need to get myself geared up.
World is at my fingertips with the Warframe franchise, the Warframe universe, and I would love your input on how I should approach it going forwards, and if you'd like to see some more Warframe from me on the channel, both on stream and in video form. So please let me know. Thank you, Digital Extremes, for welcoming me into the fold in the way that you have. So appreciated. And make sure also, if you haven't downloaded Warframe yet.
All right. I mean, I appreciate, I didn't even know it was sponsored. Yeah, it's sponsored. New hand touches the beacon. Yeah, I mean, overall, like, he makes some very fair criticisms, and I think it's great. I mean, it's really cool. I'm glad to see more people play Warframe. I will probably never get an ad, one, because I'm not a big YouTuber, and he's got 2 mil. And then secondly, I probably will never become a creator because I'm too much of an asshole. Listen, I'm too much of an asshole. I say the no words like retard. Sorry. That's never going to change because I'm brutally honest, and that's just me. But I will still continue to glaze Warframe and digital streams in my own way. Even if I'll never become a creator, or they'll never directly interact with me, because they got a brand and a name to protect. And listen, I get it. I'm very blunt, very brutally honest, and sometimes that brutal honesty is not good for business. Which is why this YouTube will probably never be a job, because if it was, I would probably have to not say anything that would make sponsors scared to interact with me. But because I'm too goddamn brutally honest, and I open my mouth like it's Call of Duty lobby, that, unless it's Activision, probably won't be allowed anywhere. No, even Activision censors the crap now. So yeah, let's be honest. But I'm glad that Roth Waffles, I would love to watch one of his streams and just watch him interact with Warframe for the first time. And it's a shame that I don't get to have that experience with you guys in the channel. It's a shame that I can't have that experience with you, because I've already experienced most of this. Now there's stuff that I need to go back and re-interact with. But I'll save that. But the link will be down below. Down below. Shout out to Mr. Waffles again. Really liked the video. Again, I'm not ever going to be a gatekeeper and say, no, don't play my game, because that's a real asshole thing to say. And I'm glad. I want more people to play the game. That's always a good thing for the community and for the game itself to get more eyes on it. I mean, Warframe is still going very strong. It was like a couple weeks ago that the expansion, and it's just like it deserves the love, and I'm so glad to see it, because I've always enjoyed Warframe, even if I haven't been like dedicated to it for like a year or so. I've been in. Yeah, either way, I thank you guys. Like I said, link to his video will be down below. I know what, by the way. Ooh, nope, that is not the right video. Where be the video where I just literally reacted to video? There it is. I have so many. I like it. I'm gonna like the video because he deserved a like. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. As always, don't forget to game out, and huzzah.